This show is brought to you by the Deluxe Edition Network. Head over to the Den.show for other great podcasts.
Bring out the gimp.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Deluxe Edition, the show where we love to dig deep into classic pop culture and talk about all sorts of fun stuff. My name is Bill Sebald, here as always with Casey Shearer. How are you, sir?
Good, Bill. How are you, buddy?
Pretty good. I got real deep on your voice there. I was like, Shearer.
You're a man.
I could, yeah, they actually called me the other day to see if I could sing for the Crash Test Dummies.
Oh, yeah?
That stupid band. I didn't listen to that band at all, except for that song. Oh, my dogs, by the way, sound like absolute maniacs. I decided to allow them to be in here because every time they're not here, they bark. So I'm like, I guess it'll be better if they're in here. Anyway, so did you ever hear any other music from that band? Was that singer singing like that on every song?
I would not be able to tell you.
Could you be able to
I have
tolerate?
no idea.
That voice was just like, that band was supposed to only show up for a few minutes, be famous, and then get the fuck out. Like, you couldn't take a whole lot of Crash Test Dummies. No. Anyway,
No,
that's not what this episode's about, Casey. Why did you start talking about the Crash Test Dummies?
I didn't.
Well, Casey,
the Crash
I want to
Test
thank
Dummies,
you.
though, I will say, the Crash Test Dummies are from the 90s, right?
Yeah. All right. You found a segue, sir. So I want to thank you you actually are basically producing this show because I didn't really know what you were doing. So it's been my birthday week and it was a really crazy week for me. So I was kind of like offline. And then my wife says to me, she goes, "Oh, I love the game you guys are playing." And I'm like, "What game? I don't know what we're doing." So why don't you explain to the audience what you have done?
Well, I completely stole this idea from another Facebook group that I am in. And it's a retro pop culture group. I don't believe they have a podcast. It's just a Facebook group. But what they were doing and what we did is the best movies of the 90s, Bill. Deluxe Edition presents.
Did you hear my dog there? Did you hear that? Listen to these things. Listen. What kind of dog do you think I have? These are two little itty bitty schnauzers, and it's just an unnatural, unholy sound. I'm gonna have to move them in a minute. Anyway, so best movies of. We'll be right back, folks. And back, Casey. We're back. That was professional editing right there. All right, back to the show. So go ahead and start over, please, if you don't mind. What did you do, Casey?
So what I did was I asked our Facebook group, and if you're not a member of the Facebook group, please join. It's just search for Deluxe Edition, a classic pop culture podcast, and you'll be able to find us there. So what I did was I asked our group for their picks on the best movies of the 90s. So we had, there were over 60 comments, but there were hundreds of movies listed. I forgot to say that you should only write one down. So I made your job very difficult. I didn't do anything. All I did was put the everything that people commented and put it in a list, and you compiled the votes. And we broke it down to the best 16 movies of the 90s.
I got to tell you, you sent that info to me, and you were like, "Hey, I don't know how the fuck to use Excel. Is there a way to do this fast?" I did it with like 3 seconds. Like, it was just totally easy to do. But I was also like, I don't want to look at the list. I want to kind of be surprised. So I saw some of the movies that were on there, but most of them I kind of squinted. I swear to God, I actually squinted as I was putting it together. What?
So you're telling me you don't even look at our Facebook group?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Come on.
I'm sorry, everybody. It's not, whenever you see a post from me, it's not me looking. I got somebody posting on my bed. Of course I go to the Facebook group, but I was not looking that week. That week I had too much going on.
All right. The Super Bowl and your birthday. Yeah.
Oh, I love your move the other day. All of a sudden, I have some people coming over for watching the Super Bowl, and my friend Jen, she calls and she goes, well, I guess you're not. I guess we're not doing the Super Bowl party. I said, why? Casey says you're going live at 6 p.m. I'm like, oh shit, that's a Super Bowl. What's going on? You and me were so out of sync this week.
You were apparently so focused on other things when we talked about going live on Sunday. You completely forgot that the Super Bowl was on Sunday. I just didn't care that the Super Bowl was on Sunday.
Yeah. That's a good time. It's an American holiday.
Yeah,
I read a stat today, and I can't remember the number to quote it properly, but there was somebody took a poll, and it was more people would rather have the next day off from the Super Bowl and they'll give up like a real holiday. They'd rather convert it a real holiday to the Super Bowl being a day. I've heard that for Halloween too. I know a lot of people want the next day for Halloween off. That makes sense.
The next day.
Yeah. Oh well. Sorry that the Super Bowl holiday, the national American, non-official holiday, got in the way of your live broadcast, dude.
All good, man. I'm afraid to go live anyway. I never know what you're gonna say. You're a loose cannon.
I'm more afraid because I don't want it out there. At least when we, do it this old-fashioned way, I can edit them.
All right, let's get into the bracket. How about this? Why don't we go? I'll go through the bracket, and you pick your winners, and then I'll go down and I'll break it down. And since you claim to have not looked at the list too clearly.
Yeah, I definitely don't know the score. All right, I see what you're saying. So let's see if they match up to what I would choose.
Right.
Fun.
All right. So the list, Bill, the top 16 movies that our group picked for the best of the 90s. Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption, Clerks, Ace Ventura, Jurassic Park, The Matrix, A Bronx Tale, The Usual Suspects, Reservoir Dogs, Casino, American History X, American Beauty, Fight Club, Braveheart, Dazed and Confused, and the Boondock Saints.
All right. Okay. Well, two things. One, I'm glad we fixed your mic issue right there because you sound much clearer now. Two, I'm going to admit there's a couple movies there that I haven't seen fully or all of. I think Casino. I don't think I've ever seen Casino.
So I will admit that.
Oh yeah,
as well.
All right. So I'll do my best.
So you're an 80s kid, and we always talk about this. You're an 80s kid. You were born what year?
1975.
75. So you were 10 in 1985.
Right.
I was only 5. So I'm that far behind you, and it's a huge, we've talked about this before. It's huge in terms of movies and all kinds of stuff.
And I remember vividly. I mean, you felt that change happen overnight from tone, from 80s movies to 90s movies. It was hair bands and loud rock and roll, and everything was over the top, crazy, colorful, silly, stupid. And then all of a sudden, it was like somber, and you never saw sexy girls anymore. Right now, they were really just kind of like down and a little mopey. Like everything was changing. Everything was totally turned upside down. Guitar solos, they were never crazy and loud. It was just no guitar solos, right? So the more kind of moodier you got, like the guys, they stopped with the hairspray and looking stupid, to being we're the anti-rock star. And that vibe kind of went into all the media, right? The TV shows got a little darker and a little bit more dramatic. Everything got a little bit darker. Yeah. I mean, it's a clear change, and it must have been a reaction to, we're really tired of these bright, stupid colors from the 80s and all these, fake ass characters, so let's try getting a little bit more gritty and real.
Yeah. And what's weird is, don't you think that's all sort of coming back, like the colors and the fake characters and all that shit? It's all making its way back.
There's just so much variety out there now. There's a little bit of everything out there.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
What do you think? We can look back and say the 70s were like this, the 80s were like this, the 90s were like this. Can you say the 2000s were like this? Can you say the 2010s were like I feel like the last 25, 30 years have just been void of any kind of particular style in pop culture, at least from what I can observe.
It's all a mixture of everything, a lot of copycats.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to keep on going that way.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not too many original ideas anymore. All right, let's break this down. So the way I did it was I took it like a sports bracket. You know, they always take the number one pick against the lowest.
Right.
That's how they do like the March Madness, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Bill. Pulp Fiction, 1994. Directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis, Tim Roth, Ving Rhames, and Uma Thurman. What can you tell us about Pulp Fiction? Favorite of yours?
Well, if I could see the picture of the movie poster that you took so much time to download and install, maybe it could jog my. Oh yeah, Pulp Fiction with Uma Thurman and yeah, I loved it when that movie came out. Like that one shook everybody. Did you get that same? Like it was the movie for the '90s, definitely. Because when I was at college, every kid had the Pulp Fiction soundtrack running or the poster on the wall. Everybody had it. That movie was huge. And it was like, we all heard of Reservoir Dogs, but it didn't really hit us like Pulp Fiction. Maybe it was because it had star power. Like all of a sudden you're seeing these people that were like, Bruce Willis was a big star, but you're seeing all these other really quirky kind of characters from other big stars. And then you see like this crazy, like this John Travolta guy, that him coming kind of back into it was a novelty. And now, Quentin Tarantino's done that a lot with his movies. But that novelty worked that time because all of a sudden that thing ignited his career again. He was in Look Who's Talking 1, 2. I think he went all the way up to 28. It revived his career. And the story was like nothing you'd ever seen on screen. So it was kind of like we were saying earlier. The bubblegum stuff was gone. This thing was fucking gritty. You never, what was the guy called? Bring out the Gimp. Like you never saw nothing like the Gimp on any movie that I can remember. I mean, it was crazy. I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan. He doesn't always hit for me, but what he does, he just creates something you've never seen before. And this was that movie. This one's gonna be hard to beat for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was a great movie. I was only 14 at the time, so I don't believe I saw this I saw this a little later in my life, but yeah, incredible movie. Quentin, huge fan. Same with me. He doesn't hit every time, but when he does, man, I mean, it's just unbelievable. And it's just every time. This is a movie that you can watch over and over and over and over again, and you're still going to pick things up that you missed from before. It's one of those types of movies.
Yeah.
All right. So that was against our lowest seeded movie in the bracket, Ace Ventura, another 1994 movie starring Jim Carrey, Courtney Cox, Tone Loc, Sean Young, and Miami Dolphins quarterback Dan Marino. You remember this one?
Yeah, that one didn't really get many votes, huh?
No, unfortunately, no.
That's a standout '90s movie for me.
Yeah.
Finkel and Einhorn. Finkel, what was that? I'm trying to remember the line.
Yeah, but it had a lot of Einhorn and Finkel and Einhorn.
Yeah. But like even the shock, like with Dan Marino in that like whole end scene, like there was a lot of really good surprises in it. But that sort of does turn the last thing I said on its head, right? Because that's still silly 80s type humor. Like I guess a few kind of things like Ace Ventura did survive for a little while. And they did a sequel too. And I remember thinking the sequel was pretty funny. But Jim Carrey's character, that whole thing, like it had to die soon, and it has, died, and he was able to turn his career into different directions. But he knew when it was time to stop doing that. Same shtick over and over.
Yeah, now this one was a big one for me when I was a kid because I was 14, and this was like directed, more for that type of crowd, I think, But it was one of the movies I was allowed to see when I was 14, so it's probably PG rated, PG-13. Really funny stuff. Jim Carrey at the height of his career, just really, really funny shit. Stupid stuff that if you would watch today, it would probably like not as funny as it was. But yeah, great movie. So That
I
was
love that you say,
our
I think it's targeted to me. He was talking out of his butt in a scene. Like, it's totally targeted to a 14-year-old.
yeah, what was that? What did he say? What was it? What did he say? I know you know what he says out of his butt.
Was it, let me ask you a question or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yes. Oh shit. Yeah, and I forgot to we're using StreamYard here. And I forgot to pop that one up. I don't even know if yeah, here it is. Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Forgot that I have this feature now. Yeah, great movie. So Pulp Fiction versus Ace Ventura. Who's moving on for you?
It's Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
It'd be hard to beat Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. All right. So what I found out when I was typing all this stuff up today, 1994 was an incredible year for movies. There, 4 of our picks were from 1994. Next round, Clerks versus the Shawshank Redemption. So Clerks, 1994, stars Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson. It's just a day in the life of clerks of a convenience store. Kevin Smith's first movie. Introduces the recurring characters of Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
What do you think of it? What do you think of Clerks, Bill?
Well, don't forget your graphic. Don't forget your graphic, sir. But I remember when when it came out, I remember the cool kids were talking about it. And I remember it was like when I finally saw it, it was a black and white, poorly shot thing. And I remember turning my nose at it, being like, no, man, I like movies with color. I like big budget things like this. You're just trying to be cool. When I finally sat down and watched it and like sat and just listened to the writing and kind of you get hooked in, you're like, this isn't like anything I've seen before. There's a lot of dialogue. So it's really like a play on film. I guess every film is a play on film, but I've just never remembered seeing a movie where it was just so much damn talking and so little action. And it kept my interest because it was just fascinating what they were talking about.
Yeah, I huge fan of Kevin Smith, man. You might be able to tell here from my collection of pop figures. The reason I started a podcast way back 6-7 years ago, went to see him live one time and he was like, anyone can start a podcast. I have fucking 10 of them. I was like, oh shit, that's a good idea. Me and my friends just all, I always have shit to say, so I figured yeah, let's do it. So yeah, Kevin Smith, this was not so big for me in 1994, but as the time went on, yeah, absolutely, just incredible movie. I went to the shop, the Quickie Mart where it was shot down in New Jersey, and it's unbelievable how tiny that place is when you go inside, and to think that a whole movie was shot there. It's incredibly small.
Yeah. They were probably crawling on the floor. They were probably doing so many crazy things.
Yeah, man. So yeah, incredible. All right, up next, so Clerks versus the Shawshank Redemption. All right, so this is another movie from 1994. Andy Dufresne, played by Tim Robbins, sentenced to 2 life terms in prison for the murders of his wife and her lover. Andy knows he didn't commit the crime. After 19 years, he escapes prison after brutality, rape, helps the warden, make a ton of money, and then steals the money, for a lot of the money from him, gets him in trouble. Great movie. I just watched this last night. Incredible movie. I actually went to the Ohio State Penitentiary where this was filmed. I travel for work, and I might have seen this a long time ago. I didn't remember a lot of it, but watching the movie last night and the way that it was filmed, after going through the Ohio State Penitentiary, like, it doesn't seem like a lot has changed. It's almost like they filmed that movie and then just left it the way that it was. Like, it's really neat to see it after the fact that I was there. So highly recommend.
do you think they actually made cosmetic changes to it for the movie? They probably used what was really there. So when you're looking at it, like, you're really looking at the way it was probably built.
Oh
I
yeah,
wonder if they
absolutely.
left
Yeah,
it behind. Because maybe they
they
made
did.
like another building, another room. I keep cutting you off. I'm sorry, but maybe they added to it and they just left what they added there. Kind of like in The Hobbit, wherever The Hobbit was filmed, the Shire, like they really went into this hill in England somewhere, forgive me, I don't know. And they dug out and created this little town. And in time, they abandoned it and it sort of rotted away. And you could still go and see like pieces of the Shire. So maybe what you actually went through was more of a set. You know what I'm asking? Was it more of a set, or do you think it was they just used everything that was in that in that location?
Well, that's what's neat about the place. They show you what they added to the old prison to make it for the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They show you the set pieces that they added, and there's definitely a lot of I mean, most of the prison is just the way the prison was when it was a prison. It's incredible, like especially after seeing that movie, to know that they were in those cells and shit filming that, like it's crazy. Like you can walk almost through the entire prison where it was filmed. Really neat. I highly recommend taking that tour if you're ever in Ohio. I forget exactly where it's at, but just Google it. The Ohio State Reformatory, I believe it's called.
Yeah, I was supposed to do a photo shoot there. There was a whole bunch of people that were invited to go, and they rent out the property, I guess, for events or tours like you did.
Yeah,
I definitely
really
want to
neat.
go. I love seeing that old stuff.
Yeah, it's really neat too. It's haunted, and like there's one area where it's an open room where you can go and there's just a chair in the middle of the room where you can sit, and it's like, nah, I'm good. Fuck that. I hurried out of that area. And actually, they in the remember, of course, it's hopefully everyone has seen the movie by now. Remember where Brooks goes after he gets out of prison?
Here's my admission. I saw the movie once. I remember loving it, but yeah, I got to go back and watch it. No, so I don't remember that.
Okay.
But
all right. So Brooks, he's the old man. He's the librarian. He gets paroled and leaves prison. Doesn't know how to adapt to life on the outside. He spent most of his life in prison, and he kills himself. Before he does, he takes a knife and etches into the piece of wood. Brooks was here, and that is actually they filmed that in the prison. That room is actually in the prison. And when I came around the corner into that room, there's a life-size cutout of Brooks, and it scared the shit out of me.
Everybody thinks the place is haunted. That's all it was. It was just a cardboard cutout. The same thing that scared people in 3 Men and a Baby. When they also thought there was a ghost in 3 Men and a Baby. It was a cardboard cutout. Who knew they were so scary?
Yeah.
Well,
definitely go back and watch this movie, Bill. Awesome movie. Awesome movie.
You could have invited me to watch it with you. Just, didn't get the invite.
I live in Florida now, remember?
I thought we could watch these things on like StreamYard and Zoom and all these things. All right. Well, to let you know, since I'm a shitty fan of the movie, it's a great movie. Everybody talks about it. I remember loving it when I watched it and just thinking it was shot in a crazy way that was super attractive to me. For some reason, I didn't go back to it. I don't love dramas. I like wacky comedies. So that's the best excuse I have. So for me, that one just unfortunately won't be the winner. Who was the other? Ace Ventura was up against
Clerks.
Ace Ventura. Clerks. Yeah, I'd have to go with the Clerks on this one.
Wow.
This is just the Bill Sebald score. This is
sure.
the score for the
absolutely.
world. Right. All right. Because they're going to get it wrong. I'll get it right.
All right. Day 2. So that was day 1. So then the way I did it, I made it so because I thought in my head that we were recording on Sunday live. So I started this and I made it 7 days, and I made it ended on Sunday. Like we were going to announce the winner on Sunday. Like but that's not how it worked out. So day 2, Jurassic Park versus The Usual Suspects. Jurassic Park, 1993, directed by Steven Spielberg, based on the 1990 novel of the same name by Michael Crichton. Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum were the stars. What can you tell us about Jurassic Park, Bill? I know you were a fan of this.
I was a huge fan of this. I mean, this thing was enormous. I never went to the movies with my family. We went to see this. You know what I mean? Because it was like, it was a spectacular. Everybody had to go. We were more interested in going to this than when Barnum and Bailey came to town. Because it was just, I mean, the things they were showing on TV, the commercial, the marketing campaign, the trailer, you know, when you see them in front of movies, you were just like, this is the most realistic looking thing you've ever seen. These dinosaurs look absolutely real. Yeah. I mean, geez, now I'm putting this against Pulp Fiction. This one, I think, is the movie that represents the 90s for me. There was so much great, everything about it was perfect. You know what I really liked about it? It wasn't too much CGI, which is what I think they're doing with these new Jurassic Park movies. They had enough practical effects, like that T-Rex. A lot of that footage, like when the head of the T-Rex would bump into the Jeep and move it around, was a real fucking head. They like put the money into it. So they mix CGI and practical effects incredibly well. And that's why I think it's scarier, because they look real. When you get up close to one of them dinosaurs, and it's, you know, it's a puppet, sure, but at least it looks like it's in the same plane, you know, it's in the same world as the actual human actors. It doesn't look like a color form laid on top of the entire film. So for me, that works better. And I wish they would go back to that, you know, more practical effects in puppetry in movies. But it was a perfect mix of everything for me. Comedy, you know, a little bit of scary horror, you know, it was great.
Yeah. Do you know if they still have those? Are those props anywhere? They're like the big giant heads. Are they anywhere that you can go see them or anything?
I don't know. My understanding is those things rot pretty easily.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I'll watch one of those like Hollywood antique roadshow type things, and it's like, here's the head of some monster from the cantina in Star Wars, and it's like a little piece of like rubber on a really rusty old metal skeleton mask. Yeah, they don't last very long. So that I'm gonna guess most of it just kind of died.
All right, so Jurassic Park, that was a big movie for me. That was 1993. I was 13, so I remember going to the theaters with my grandparents to see that movie, and I remember like just being jump scares. Like that's the first time I remember going to a theater and like jumping in my seat from like being scared. I forget exactly what scene it was, but great movie.
Just think about how powerful, sorry to cut you off again, but just think about how powerful that scene was in the movie theater when the kids are in the car, right? Because you're about that age. Doom. What was that? Doom. Right? And then they look at the little glass of water and it's doom. It starts to vibrate.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was super terrifying. And then, like, you're at the theater, and the theater, I don't know, for some reason, I remember they started to update a lot of theaters around, at least my area where I grew up outside of Philly. So it was super loud and super immersive. Boom. And it was behind you. And you're like, oh, come on, this is ridiculous. I was so scared.
Yeah. Same with me, man. I remember that. Are you excited for the new one? I don't know if I've ever seen any other one other than the first one. Maybe the second one when it first came out. But I did see the trailer for the new one, and they are bringing back Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum. So
yeah, the whole thing has run its course for me. I mean,
really?
Now they're just pumping them out to make some, easy dollars. But
yeah,
hey, got a great deal. Let's bring back the original cast. Yeah, well, you were going to do that eventually, so I'm not that excited. Right. You knew it was coming.
Do you think it's to try and get people like us to come back and watch it? Like people that haven't maybe seen the other ones? And
yeah, no question in my mind. No question.
Yeah.
Like, how do we get the audience in? It seems like the new kids don't give a shit about it. We got to lure in the old guys.
Yeah.
We're probably the only ones that went and saw that new Ghostbusters sequel. I don't think there's anybody under 30 who's seen that movie. So they probably took a page out of that book and said, all right, let's bring back the original cast.
Yeah, we'll have to. That'll be another episode. We'll have to talk about that. Rest in peace, Ivan Reitman. So, uh, moving on. The Usual Suspects is the next movie. That's against Jurassic Park. 1995 neo noir mystery thriller directed by Bryan Singer, written by Christopher McQuarrie, Stephen Baldwin, Gabriel Byrne, Benicio del Toro, Kevin Pollak, Chaz Palminteri, and Kevin Spacey. Were you a fan of this movie, Bill?
No, and I should have been because it's great. It's great. It's a really well written story. It's a great puzzle. You know, I watch a lot of movies and figure them out. This one I didn't get. Right, this one I didn't figure out. Like The Sixth Sense, I figured out right away. I thought everybody was on the same page. I'm like, you all know he's dead, right? Like you could tell by the way he's communicating with. No, like I'm just lucky that I can pick up on certain beats in some of these movies, but this one tricked me, and yeah, I should watch it again. Again, I just like the popcorn stuff, so I never went back to it. Those heavy movies, man, I only need to see them once. Yeah, I bet you were a fan of it. You like this stuff.
I do like this stuff. I will be honest with you though. I only remember seeing it one time. I remember the ending, the trickery of the Kaiser Sose, Kevin Spacey. You know, he had like a limp the whole movie, right? And was another character.
Yeah, I was trying not to spoil it for everybody, but
dude, this movie came out in 1995. If you haven't seen The Usual Suspects by now, we apologize, but go watch it.
We're past the statute of limitations on it.
Yeah. All right, so moving on for you would be Jurassic Park, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
easy picking right there.
All right, so next in the round, The Matrix versus A Bronx Tale. The Matrix, 1999, first installment of the series. Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss. Dystopian future. Humanity is unknowingly trapped inside a simulated reality. You're a fan of The Matrix, Bill?
Yeah, I'll use the dumb thing I just said a second ago, easy pickings, which makes no sense in this context at all. But I'm going to double down on it. Easy pickings for me on this too. Easy pickings, Matrix, all the way. Like Matrix is too brilliant. Matrix is so damn brilliant. Just everything about the way that movie was put together. And then it got destroyed for me with the second and third one. It was perfect the way they left it, and that's how it should have just, to me, stopped. But talk about a movie that defines the 90s. Everything was dark after that. Everything was using that damn camera effect, All the action movies were inspired by it. I've already forgotten what the Bronx Tale, like you say, The Matrix, and I go, oh yeah, that one wins. What do you think? Are you a Matrix fan?
You don't like Keanu Reeves fan. I do not like Keanu Reeves. I'll give him Speed, and I'll give him Bill and Ted's Bogus, whatever that movie's called. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, whatever the fuck it's called. I'll give him those two movies.
No.
But everything else, his acting is the same in everything. He's got the same facial expressions. He's just, look, Keanu Reeves, from what I've heard, is a great person. He does a lot for humanity. I just don't like him as an actor. I'm allowed to have that opinion.
You are. He's not a big fan of yours either. But, the thing about that movie, like even the detail in the set design and all sorts of things, because I've studied up on like some of the, the behind the scenes stuff. There were some artists in my area of Philly who were even like called to contribute art to it. So I don't know. There you go. How many? For those listening, he's putting the pictures up of the movie. Have we forgotten to do that for like the last 3 or 4? There's Jurassic Park. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Going in reverse.
I'm new at this.
Bronx Tale. That was its competitor.
Bronx Tale is its competitor. Now this me. This is a good one. I recently just watched this. I had never seen it before. This movie was a good movie. 1993 crime drama directed by Robert De Niro in his debut as a director. Adapted from the Chaz Palminteri play of the same name. It's a coming of age story of an Italian American boy who, after encountering the local mafia, is torn between temptations of organized crime or the values of his honest, hardworking father, as well as the racial tensions in his community. Have you seen this movie, Bill?
Yeah, I did, but because Spider-Man wasn't, fighting a dinosaur again, I watched it once, said, "Yeah, this is good," but it has drifted off in my into my brain ocean there, just gone, just out to sea.
Go
Yeah,
back and
so
watch this movie, man. This is
this
a
holds
good
up.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, this holds up. I recently just watched this. Really good movie. I like I think for me the movies that, like, because this was based in, like, I think the 50s or something like that. Movies that go back like that, I think always hold up for some reason. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, I don't
nobody
know what
does
I'm
the
trying to.
50s wrong or whatever time frame you're talking about. Like anything in that era holds up for you.
Yeah,
Because
like,
I could show you one Dick Tracy that I'm pretty sure won't hold up.
all right, you got me there. All right, moving on for you, The Matrix, right?
Hmm.
All right, so this is the yeah, no, we have a couple more here that are in Casino versus American History X. Okay, Casino is a 1995 American epic crime film directed by Martin Scorsese. It's based on the book Casino, Love and Horror in Las Vegas. Stars Robert De Niro, Sharon Stone, Joe Pesci, Don Rickles, Kevin Pollak, and James Wood. It also marked the 8th collaboration between Scorsese and De Niro.
Yeah.
We had mentioned earlier, neither one of us have seen this movie, so there's nothing that we can say about it. Although I do, it is on my list to watch. I'm a huge Don Rickles fan.
Don Rickles is in it?
Yeah, dude. Don Rickles is awesome.
I bet you he plays the casino comedian. What else could he play?
That's a good guess. All right. American History X, Bill. Do you know this one?
Yeah. Yeah, that was
1998, directed by Tony Kaye, written by David McKenna. Edward Norton and Edward Furlong are in the movie. They're two brothers from LA who are involved with the white power, skinhead, and neo-Nazi movements. Ed Norton serves 3 years in prison for voluntary manslaughter and is rehabilitated. Then he tries to prevent his brother from going down the same path. Also stars Stacy Keach, Elliot Gould, Avery Brooks, Ethan Suplee, and Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah, this is where the movie started to take that dark turn we were talking about.
Yeah, this is a really dark one.
Yeah, and I can't even say I ever got all the way through it. I remember when they curbed the guy. Remember they put his mouth right on the curb and kick him. Yes. But it's like, there was another one that came out at the same time or around the same time. Damn it. Oh, damn it. It was a school one, I think. Because Michael Rappaport was like being really creepy and being rapey in that one. I was like, every movie that I'm watching here is just getting way too fucking dark, and I don't like this. It's too gross for me. I'm a big wimp. I hate going to the movies and seeing the ugly real world put in my face. It's like I'm trying to go to the movies to not see the ugly real world. So that's just been, the way I am. So movies, like this, I've tried to avoid like the plague. But knowing that it's such a great movie, it's like you got to give it one viewing.
Yeah. So
I think this one, I'll watch Casino. This one's going to be a hard one to beat unless Casino is really revolutionary, because that one doesn't go away. That one still stays in your head. Even though I didn't see the whole thing, I still can go through my head and see the characters in a lot of those scenes. Yeah. Rough. Yeah,
same for me. American History X. I like Ed Norton, great actor. Don't know if I've seen the whole thing. Those parts, like you said, there's just certain things about it that stick out that I'll never forget. And unless Casino can, Casino though, I think Don Rickles might pull it through for me. I think that.
Yeah, he'll. All right. Well, what was that movie? We've talked about it before. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Was that in the 90s? Do you remember?
Was
Michael Rooker
who's?
is in it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that feels
Hmm.
like a '90s movie.
Damn, that movie is dark and fucked up.
I
Like, if that was around the same time, I love Michael Rooker because he's in all the James Gunn stuff, and I love James Gunn, but I also hate Michael Rooker because I can't get a scene from that movie out of my head. All right. I just looked. All right, so Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer is actually in the 1986. It says that's kind of
Oh
surprising.
wow.
So
Yeah.
forget me even bringing that one up. It's irrelevant, but it's one you've talked about two of the movies that really messed me up. That might be the third of the Triangle of Doom for me. I just can't even watch that shit. It's just way too dark. Way too dark.
All right. So moving on for you would be American History X then, right?
Yeah, and I
Since
just
we've
thought
never
of the
seen.
fourth. Yeah, the fourth movie that I will never watch again is Natural Born Killers. That was
Oh
just
yeah,
way too
Jesus.
fucking intense for me.
I'm surprised nobody mentioned that. That was a '90s movie.
I
It might have
blocked.
been it might have been mentioned, but it didn't make the list for sure. All right. Next up, American Beauty versus Reservoir Dogs. American Beauty, 1999, American black comedy, black comedy drama, written by Alan Bell and directed by Sam Mendes. Kevin Spacey stars as Lester Burnham, an advertising executive who has a midlife crisis when he becomes infatuated with his teenage daughter's best friend, who is played by Mina Suvari. Annette Bening stars as Lester's wife. Thora Birch plays their daughter. Wes Bentley, Chris Cooper, and Allison Janney are also in the movie. You a fan of this movie, Bill?
Yeah, his name is Lester. I don't remember being Lester. I love that
That's
his name.
that's what Wikipedia tells me.
Fits him, Lester the molester. It was it was. I thought it was a great movie, mature, but it was still arty. Like it was artsy, but not so artsy fartsy that you lose your way. Like it was a really
Right.
creatively done movie. Yeah, I've seen that one a few times. There's a bunch of scenes in it that I sometimes refer to or think about. Great cast. Everything about it was a good movie. Oh, the ending,
Yeah.
right. Now I'm remembering how it ended. I won't spoil it, but yeah, it's got a pretty intense ending too.
Yeah, see, I don't remember this a whole lot. I remember like a flower or something floating. Wasn't there a scene, like an artsy scene, where there was a flower or something floating around through
Wasn't it
the
a
air?
bag? Yeah, I think it was a paper
Okay,
bag.
yeah, bag. Yeah. I remember like him working out in the garage. Wasn't he like jerking off in the garage or something? Being fucking creepy.
I remember working out. I think you're adding. Maybe you're adding things you want to see. I don't know. But no, I don't recall that part.
All right, we'll cut that out.
Yeah. No way, man. We're leaving that in. That's too funny. No, there was a scene. There was a scene in the shower. You're not. I'm just busting your balls. You were pretty close. You were slightly
all
off,
right,
but enough for me to.
Yeah, I remember him being a creep in the movie, and it turns out he's a fucking creep in real life too.
Yeah.
All right, Reservoir Dogs. Two Quentin Tarantino movies made our list. 1992 crime film written and directed by Quentin. It was his feature-length debut, starring Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Chris Penn, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Tierney, Michael Madsen. Quentin is in the film as well, and Edward Bunker. They're diamond thieves who planned a heist of a jewelry store, and it goes terribly wrong. I remember you mentioned this earlier. You remembered Reservoir Dogs at the time you saw Pulp Fiction. Were you a fan of this?
A little bit. I mean, there's that one scene with the ear and all that. That's outside of that. I don't really remember a whole lot from it. I remember there was great dialogue and good Quentin stuff, but just didn't stick out enough. Like if you think about Quentin's other movies, they're big changes. There's big settings. This is just about dudes that sort of do a thing It's not maybe all his movies are technically that way, but it's like, sometimes he puts it in old, military days or Western, or, he does some, pretty crazy stuff. This is pretty standard fare, I thought, but it's okay. That's how he got started. It's his first movie. It's absolutely commendable for it, but it didn't stick with me nearly as well as Pulp Fiction. What do you think of it?
Sure. I loved it. Great movie. Like I said, I was 12 at the time, I didn't see this until later in life. Don't remember if I saw this first or Pulp Fiction first, but huge fan of Quentin, like I said earlier. Yeah, great movie. I have written down here, it incorporated many motifs that have become Quentin's hallmarks, like violent crime, pop culture references, and non-linear storytelling. Like, remember how he starts things and then goes back. He jumps around, and nothing is ever in order.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. I mean, for most of his movies, a lot of things aren't in order.
Yeah.
I thought you were fucking frozen again. I was like, what the fuck?
I was waiting for you to finish your line. Yeah. Did you ever hear that he was thinking about, I don't want to misquote this, and you're going to have to look this up on the internet, everybody, but there was some interest that he wanted to do like a Friday the 13th or some sort of thing like that, because he was always into that kind of slasher thing. So maybe there was thought that one of his final movies was going to be an actual Friday the 13th. Look at that Jason bust right there. Wow. Pretty spooky. But like, if he made a Friday the 13th, that would be absolutely incredible. I would so welcome that as a Friday the 13th fan, to have him just make a random episode in the series, because I'd be absolutely fascinated to see what he would do, because he's so good at playing with genres, and he's so good at playing with big, huge settings that leave imprints in your brain. Like, his movies stand out. Again, Reservoir Dogs doesn't really stand out for me, but man, I want to see this guy keep on making movies. But he's done, right? He's kind of stopping. I think he said he's done making movies after his next one, or I read something. I never know what's true anymore, but what I read said he's really kind of done making movies. He'd rather be writing, or maybe behind the scenes. Yeah, I don't know.
Anything that he does, I would be interested in. So maybe, I mean, hell, if he writes a book, maybe. Yeah, I have many leather-bound books.
Books, you have books. Well, he wrote Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He wrote the novelization of it, and he expands on things like the fight between Brad Pitt's character and Bruce Lee. How they sort of if you remember that moment, like, there's a lot of questions to be asked. Oh, you don't you don't know what I'm talking about?
I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's probably one of my favorite of the last 30 years.
Really?
It's so good. Yeah. He's just brilliant.
I'll watch that tonight.
All right. I expect a full book report on my desk tomorrow by 9 a.m.
All right, Bill. We're getting down to the last four here. Okay.
All right.
Braveheart versus Dazed and Confused. Braveheart, 1995. Epic historical drama, directed and co-produced by Mel Gibson. He portrays Sir William Wallace, a 13th century Scottish warrior. Are you a fan of Braveheart, Bill?
Never finished it. Punched out halfway through. Never went back.
Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, I've never I can't say I've gotten through the whole thing. Not one thing I remember about it.
Yeah. Well, I remember just a lot of screaming by Mel Gibson with his face painted up. That's all I know. That's all I know.
Versus Dazed and Confused, 1993, coming of age comedy film written by Richard Linklater. Features a large ensemble cast of people who later become stars: Jason London, Ben Affleck, Mila Jovovich, Cole Hauser, Parker Posey, Adam Goldberg, Matthew McConaughey, Nikki Katt, Joey Lauren Adams, Renee Zellweger, and Rory Cochrane. It's just a group of Texas teenagers during the last day of 1976. You a fan of Dazed and Confused, Bill?
Nah, we talked about it a couple episodes ago. Yeah, I never got interested in it. I don't know why.
Really?
And then you said, you said you got to go watch it again, give it another chance, and it's on my list. We were flipping through movies over the weekend, and I was like, oh yeah, I got to watch it. Dazed and Confused. And I said, you know what? I think I'd rather watch Bongzilla. So I got distracted by something on Amazon Prime. But I'll get
definitely back. Yeah, definitely go back to and watch this. This is a big one for me. Later in life, I was only 13 at the time when it came out, but I use still to this day many lines that from this movie. Like Matthew McConaughey. Someone gets in his car. He goes, "Watch the leather, man." There's another scene where he asks the one kid if he's got any weed. It'd be a lot cooler if you did, man. Like, I always remember shit like from that movie. This was a big one for me. Dazed and Confused.
It makes a lot of sense. When I first met you, you were very much like somebody who could have been in that movie. I remember the first time we met. I don't know if you do. It was either the first or second time. It was at one of our shows. And I just like, wow, who's that guy, man? He's big. He should be our bound. You're finally getting to the movie posters. How many more you got in the chamber there? And I remember I was seeing you. I was like, man, that guy, he's a big, tough guy. And then Mike, our mutual friend, he's like, oh, no, he's a pussycat. He's so gentle. I'm like, yeah, I guess he's a hippie. Hippies are supposed to be peace and love. I didn't know you were so angry.
Peace and love.
Yeah.
I still had long hair at the time, right?
I'm trying to remember. Did you? It had a real long beard.
Yeah, I think
a little bird living in the beard. I remember.
All right, let's move on. All right, this is the last two here. Boondock Saints versus Fight Club. Boondock Saints, 1999 American vigilante action thriller, written and directed by Troy Duffy, starring Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus. Their fraternal twin brothers, Connor and Murphy McManus, become vigilantes after killing two members of the Russian mafia in self-defense. Willem Dafoe is also in the movie, along with David Della Rocco. You a fan of Boondock Saints, Bill?
I don't think I've ever seen it. I'm trying to think about it now. Yeah.
Let me pop this up here again for you so you can take a look at the cover.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this one, Norman Reedus, isn't that the guy from Walking Dead?
Yeah, he became very famous with The Walking Dead.
And this one had a sequel, and I feel like there's a story like people say the sequel is garbage, absolute trash, but the first one's good. I think I've heard that. No, but that's it. I've only ever heard about this one. I can't place ever seeing it. So I'll put it on the list. It's now next to Dazed and Confused. What do you think of it?
Yeah, this was a really good movie. I might have seen this around the time it came out, 1999. I was 18 or 19 and when this came out. Really good movie. I like this one a lot. I like Willem Dafoe. He's a great actor. Everything about this I really liked. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I can't say a ton about it, but I do remember really liking this movie. All right, so this was up against in our bracket here. This was against the movie Fight Club. Fight Club's 1999 film directed by David Fincher, starring Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, Helena Bonham Carter. I think Jared Leto's in there somewhere. Based on the 96 novel of the same name, by Chuck Palahniuk. You know how to say that?
No, but I'm sure he's not real happy with you right now.
Well, I want to tell you something, Bill. I tried to watch this movie, and I'm not too happy with wasting my fucking time on this movie. Not really sure how this movie made the list. I promise I'll try it again, but it's a lot. I don't know. I don't know.
Man,
tell me about
crazy.
It.
This one's great. You didn't see the ending coming. It's one of the few.
I didn't see the ending yet. I didn't get that.
Oh, you didn't make it through.
No.
Oh, I think David Fincher's a genius. He was trying some things in this movie that I don't think anybody else did. A lot of crazy editing, like did you catch the little subliminal things that he was throwing in? Like you weren't seeing this kind of thing in movies back then, so it was really
Yeah,
fun to
what
watch Fincher movies. It'll come together.
I did, I did see it. I'm just not really sure why it's there.
You gotta finish the movie. You gotta finish. Listen, I don't know what kind of movies you watch that finish the movie in the middle, but most movies end at the end. You gotta get through it.
Well, listen, I watched Shawshank Redemption last night, and I watched the entire thing and didn't pick my phone up once. It was interesting. Today, I tried to watch The Fight Club, and I could not get into it.
All right. Did you get to the part with Meatloaf?
Oh, of course, yeah. He's in the early beginning. Yeah, he's great. These man tits or whatever. Rest in peace, Meatloaf. Yeah, he had a good part on it. I'll say that. All right, so moving on for you, Bill. Would it be Boondock Saints or Fight Club?
Yeah, it would be Fight Club. It would be hard to put. That one's going to be in top 5 for me. I think that movie was really fascinating, and maybe most of it sort of hinges on the end. I wish you saw the end because I'd really be curious if your opinion changes. But we'll never know. We'll never know.
No, we'll know. I'll finish it up and I'll report back next week.
All right.
All right. So it would have been Pulp Fiction for you and Clerks or Shawshank. Do we remember?
Well, yeah, Clerks.
Clerks. All right. So then let's put Pulp Fiction against Clerks for you.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. I love the Kevin Smith stuff. It's stupid. It's great. It's right up my alley.
All right.
Where Clerks 2 was great. The Jay and Silent Bob, it's all great, but Pulp Fiction was special.
All right. So for you, this is your list, remember? It would be Jurassic Park versus The Matrix then. So these are 2 big ones for you.
Yeah, but it's still easy.
Wait, I wanted to say this earlier. You say the Matrix, there's nothing like it, blah, 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 blah. But yet you didn't know the answer to the question in our pop culture quiz with Will from the 80s.
Yeah,
no,
I did.
Sorry, from the 1980s now.
From the 1980s now. They rebranded. No, I never knew what the little falling letters meant. I never knew they were sushi recipes. That's true. I don't even think that ever comes up in the movie. Maybe it does. I don't know. But Jurassic Park, I've seen a billion times. Apparently, I haven't seen Matrix enough because I missed the sushi recipe. I missed. Yeah, Jurassic Park for me.
Jurassic Park for you? All right. Let's see. So you picked American History X and did you pick American Beauty or Reservoir Dogs?
American Beauty.
American Beauty. All right. So it would be American Beauty versus American History X for you.
Yep. American Beauty.
American Beauty. Gone. All right. Braveheart versus Dazed and Confused. Who'd you pick?
Well, I guess I got to go. I've seen more of Braveheart, so I guess I got to go with Braveheart.
All right. All right. So let's see. Fight Club. All right. So it'll be Fight Club versus Braveheart then. You're pushing Fight Club through. Yeah. All right. So then fuck, I should have wrote this stuff down. So it would be American Beauty versus Jurassic Park then.
Should have wrote this down. Just start throwing other movies in. We'll just incorporate them and keep on going like we didn't notice. Jurassic Park and American Beauty, you say?
Yeah.
Is that what you say? You say? Yeah. Jurassic Park. I already know what this is going to come down to, and I'm trying to jump ahead. It's going to be tough.
All right, yeah, jump Jurassic ahead Park. So I can. Yeah, Jurassic Park. What out of this list? Which one are you pushing through to the final movie? What's your favorite movie of the 90s out of this list?
It's
because we gotta move along here.
We gotta move it. Yeah. Well, this could take us forever to edit, Casey. Jurassic Park or Pulp Fiction? That's really the big 2. That's what it comes down to. For me, it comes down to for all of America, it comes down to Jurassic Park versus Pulp Fiction. I speak for you all, and the answer is, I think the answer is Casey. Who's our sponsor this week?
Bear Claw Kitchen.
Bear Claw. We want to thank you, Bear Claw, and our sponsor is giving away 5,000 free bags of Bear Claw to anyone who agrees with me. But the answer is Jurassic Park. Yeah, I think Jurassic Park is the definitive 90s movie for me.
For you?
Yeah, what would you pick?
Our group did not see it the same way.
How dare they?
I don't even know if my movie would be on here. I'm a huge fan of. Okay, we're going with this list. I would have to go with. It would be Pulp Fiction for me and Shawshank.
Yeah, I get that.
For me. And I would have to go with, I think, Pulp Fiction as the definitive movie of the 90s. For me. My pick. Okay? I'm going to run down the list. This is how our group saw it. Day one, I only posted to our Facebook group. It didn't get as much traction as I had hoped. But Pulp Fiction got 13 votes. Shawshank got 10. Clerks got 5. Ace Ventura got 2. So Shawshank and Pulp Fiction moved on to the round 2. Day 2, Jurassic Park got 39 votes. The Matrix got 35 votes. Bronx Tales got 19 votes. And The Usual Suspects got 19 votes. So then Reservoir Dogs and Casino moved on. Fight Club and Braveheart moved on. So then it was Casino versus Fight Club and Reservoir Dogs versus Braveheart. Casino and Fight Club moved on to the next round. Pulp Fiction and Shawshank moved on against Pulp Fiction was against The Matrix and Shawshank was against Jurassic Park. Pulp Fiction had 26 votes. Shawshank had 27 votes. Casino and Fight Club then were against each other. Fight Club moved on to the next round with 16 votes. Casino had 15. Then it was Pulp Fiction versus the Shawshank Redemption. Shawshank had 25 votes. Pulp Fiction had 24 votes. So it was Shawshank.
Wrong. False, false, false.
Shawshank versus the Fight Club in the final, and Shawshank wins with 45 votes from our Facebook group. So we're doing another one of these, and it's going to be the best of the 80s will be next. So definitely join our Facebook group. But yeah, Shawshank. You don't agree with that, Bill?
Shawshank it's okay. Yeah, the way everybody talks about it, what I remember seeing, it's probably deserving of a top score. Maybe next time we don't do it in Facebook, that damn algorithm. So many people are like, no, I don't ever see your stuff. Fuck you, Facebook. Why do you even exist if you won't show, good content to the people? But I wonder, maybe we can use Reddit. We can maybe try to make it a little bigger because, it took me 3 seconds in that Excel. I could listen, I don't mind spending 10 seconds on crunching this day next time.
All right. I'll ask Instagram and I'll ask Twitter. I'll ask several people.
Yeah. MySpace.
So
on MySpace and do it.
We're wrapping up here, right?
MySpace. I'm waiting for a laugh. There it is.
So if you would like to follow us on Instagram or Twitter, Bill is at Bill the Mountain. I'm at the official Muffler Man on Instagram. And we are at Deluxe Edition Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You can support the show by going to patreon.com/Deluxe Edition Pod if you want to check out the tiers over there. And there are many great shows over at the Deluxe Edition Network, the Den.show. A lot of great shows over there. Horsing Around, Take on the World, Highly Judgmental, 100% Recycled. We got Real Estate and You. And us, Bill. We're the podcast of the month this month. But definitely check out the other shows over on the Den.
And we'll see you hopefully next week with we should definitely stream this one. Let's do the stream because I want to see if the audience yelled at my terrible picks again. Let's do it
All right.
exactly the same. And this time we can
All
have
right.
the public flogging in real time. So I don't have to like feel bad when I read the messages. Like, I feel all good. Like, we had a great show. And then I read the comments. And Bill doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Oh, I'd rather get that in real time so I can yell back.
Nah.
All right, so let's try it. Let's stream it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and if you like the show, definitely like, follow, subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're on YouTube. Definitely check out the videos so you can see all this cool stuff. Yeah, and next week I'll write all this down. I'll write your picks down so I'm not flustered at the end, and I probably missed a lot of shit when I was reading through the all that stuff.
So we're not really sure who won. Let's be honest. I mean,
No,
if you were watching,
Shawshank wins.
Casey hit that pen about 18,000 times during this show, so you guys got to give him a ring.
Shawshank wins.